So you've got an idea for a supplement brand. Maybe it's a multivitamin, or maybe a sleep aid, or something more niche like brain health or gut support. Now in your head, you already know what you want to sell, but you're stuck on a really big question. How do you actually make the thing? Now that's what this video is going to be about. Oh, and before I forget, my name is Brandon. I am here on behalf of Fulfillrite, a 3PL that has shipped for thousands of online sellers. There's more information about us down there in the description if you want to take a look. But let's go ahead and walk through how supplement manufacturing actually works and what you need to know in particular before you go placing your first order. Now, first things first, let's clear up the difference between formulation and manufacturing. These are not the same thing. Formulation is the science. It is where the product begins. That's your ingredient lists and your dosage levels, how different components interact. Now, maybe you are working with a nutritionist or a chemist, or you're using research-backed studies to figure it out. You're not physically making anything yet. You are figuring out what it ought to look like on paper. Manufacturing is the actual execution. It's what happens after you lock in that formula. This is where the ingredients will get sourced, weighed, blended, encapsulated, or turned into powder or gummies or tablets or whatever you need them to be, and then ultimately bottled, sealed, labeled, and boxed up. Two very different jobs, formulation and manufacturing. Different people, different facilities, and sometimes they're handled by the same company, but not always. And if you're going to be going custom, you're going to need to understand both sides in order to avoid trouble down the line. So I'm going to break this down a little bit further. Step 1, R&D and sourcing. You've got your formula. Now your manufacturer needs to source those ingredients, preferably from vetted, traceable suppliers. And this is where costs and quality diverge. You can get magnesium from a dozen places, but bioavailability and purity and price are going to vary between the vendors. Step 2, mixing and processing. Now once those ingredients arrive, they're tested, or they ought to be, then weighed, blended, and processed into controlled conditions. Now this is a big and important step if you care about the well-being of your customers. Messy mixing leads to dosage inconsistency, which can get you in all kinds of trouble really quickly if you're not careful. Step 3 is encapsulation, or shaping. Now that you figured out the mix, it gets turned into a form that consumers can actually use, like capsules, tablets, powders, soft gels, gummies, you name it, and each one requires different equipment and handling. Step 4 is bottling and sealing. That's where the finished product gets measured into containers, usually bottles, tubs, or sachets. And then it's sealed and labeled and prepped for packaging. This is also when things like tamper-evident seals and desiccants, the little silica packets, tend to get added. Step 5 is labeling and inspection. Every unit needs a compliant label, which means a supplement facts panel, ingredients list, disclaimer, batch number, expiration date, just basic stuff. These are not optional. The FDA doesn't review supplements before they hit the market, like with food and drugs, but they do enforce labeling and production rules. And it's under something called 21 CFR Part 111, which I recommend you look up, because that brings us to compliance. Oh boy. If you're manufacturing supplements in the US, you need to work with a facility that follows CGMP. That's Current Good Manufacturing Practices. Can't emphasize this enough. It's like food and safety standards, but for supplements. It covers everything from sanitation to documentation. You want to look for manufacturers who are GMP certified by a third party such as the NSF or the NPA. It means they're audited on a regular basis. They take cleanliness and consistency seriously too. Now let's talk about MOQ, minimum order quantity. This one trips people up a lot because most manufacturers are not going to let you do just a tiny test run of like 10 bottles or something. A standard MOQ might be 1,000 bottles or 2,500 or more. Now why might that be? It's because the startup costs are high on their end. They have to prep machines and calibrate that equipment, run all kinds of quality checks before your batch even starts. That takes time, and the time costs money, whether you're doing 10 bottles or 1,000. So if you're a startup, ask about smaller MOQs or pilot runs. Some manufacturers will help you to test the market. It's going to cost you more per unit, but it will limit your upfront risk. Now, speaking of time, you've also got lead times. These matter quite a bit. You can expect it to take anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks for a first run, depending on the complexity of the product and the manufacturer's schedule. Reorders are usually faster, but you need to plan ahead. Short lead times are uncommon, and usually it means that corners are being cut somewhere. You don't want to go too fast with this. Now, do you go with custom or private label? If you're doing custom, you're building from scratch, which is cool in some ways. It gives you full control, unique formula, better differentiation on the market when you need it, but it takes longer, it costs more, and it demands more oversight on your part. On the other hand, you got private label, kind of like the opposite. You pick from a pre-formulated product, you add on your brand, and you go to market fast. It's cheaper and simpler, but it's not as flexible, and this is key here, you're not going to own that formula. There's a good chance other brands are selling the exact same thing under a different name. Now, which one's right for you depends entirely on your goals, your budget, and your timeline. But either way, you want a manufacturer who's going to be responsive, transparent, and experienced in your product category. So what do you look for in a contract manufacturer? A few quick points that come to mind would be GMP certification. Mentioned this earlier, no exceptions. Clear communication. Do they answer your questions quickly and honestly? Real quotes. You don't want vague ballpark numbers. You want real manufacturing quotes on price. You'll want ingredient traceability too. You want a sample COA or certificate of analysis so you're 100% certain what's in that supplement. You want to know if they'll be able to grow with you. And finally, this is important too. Once a product's made, you need a plan for what happens next. And that's where Fulfillrite comes in, as do other order fulfillment centers. Now, we're a fulfillment partner, we're not a manufacturer, but we work with supplement brands on a day-to-day basis. We store their inventory in our climate-controlled warehouses, we pick and pack every order accurately, and then we track those expiration dates and lot numbers in case something goes wrong. If your product's temperature sensitive or fragile or regulated, we know how to handle it, as do other order fulfillment centers in this niche. Now, if you've watched this video, you are probably still learning more about how order fulfillment works, so I'd like to share some other videos with you as well if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Three of which come to mind are: what is a 3PL, third-party logistics explained simply and clearly, it's just a good primer. Can order fulfillment save you money? That'll help you decide whether to do it on your own or not. And of course, how to find the right fulfillment company. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe, and don't forget to slap some postage on the bell so that we can express ship new videos to you as soon as they drop. And last but not least, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. We will answer as many of them as we can. Thanks for watching.